guys, and today I'm planning to talk about how the COVID-19 virus is affecting the election. Now, of course, there are quite obvious reasons for why the election would be affected by the virus. Now, in the beginning of the year, most people were betting quite certainly that Trump was going to win re-election. Now that is a much more of a open question, and a lot of people are betting for Biden. And the virus certainly has something to do with that. The Black Lives Matter movement and the riots also have something to do with it. But I'm going to talk now about the three reasons I think are most important. And I try to put it together in three reasons. And they're not all affecting the election in one way. But these are significant factors and might affect it in one way or another. And that's why I'll take it into account. Now, the first one is certain demographics are worse affected. Now, most people will think about old people, but unfortunately, that's not the whole story. I just read an article the other day that tells you that black people are 4 times more likely to die from COVID-19 cases than the general populace. Now, we all heard about the death of Herman Cain. I was saddened by that. I think that every pizza lover in the world should be sad that Herman Cain is now gone. But I did not know this. I had no idea. I know that we all knew that old people and sick people were worse affected. So this might have something to do with people who live in poverty, don't have access to the same hygiene. We can't be sure, but apparently black people are more likely to die from the virus. So that's one of the reasons. And the second one, which is maybe even more obvious. Well, first of all, if a lot of old people die and are not able to vote, that is electorally bad for the GOP. When it comes to African Americans, if they are not able to vote, it would be bad for the Democrats. So it go actually both ways. Though we would think that demographically, Trump voters are much more affected, but certainly different types of voters are. Now, number 2, the recession during the campaign. This one is quite obvious. Since late February and March, April, we have seen a terrible global recession. And I don't think there is any reason to find another word for it. If you had stocks, crypto, anything, you would see the price fall. And so a lot of people have suffered through the 2020 recession so far. And it is not really decisive that it is a bad thing for Trump, because there are still a few months left. If it stabilizes, if things get better, which is not really very likely, it is certainly not just about flipping a switch and expecting everything to go back to normal. But Trump certainly would hope that something would stabilize and the economy would be able to get back on track and improve until November 3rd. That would certainly favor Trump, because the economy was a big trump card that he had in his sleeve in the beginning of the year, but of course that has changed now. So the third factor is the pandemic handling by the President of the United States or local authorities and how they receive backlash. Now, in the beginning, there was an outbreak in Washington State. There was an outbreak in New York that was very big. And there was a lot of talk in, especially the media, focused on how New York Governor Andrew Cuomo had a great response, even though his state was most heavily infected. And back then, Democratic governed states was much worse affected. Now Republican governed states are worse affected. But according to the media, the Democrats all along had a better response. But I think that was maybe something that changed at a certain point when more people were affected in Republican states such as South Carolina, Florida, Texas, Arizona, and Georgia. And fewer new cases appeared in New York and California. Anyway, there might be a big backlash against Trump. I don't think that there is going to be a big backlash against Republican governors, especially as very few of them are up for re-election this year, or Democratic governors for that matter. So it really depends. It's such a hot button issue that is really dividing the country. But I don't think that Trump has really done any major mistakes, except from maybe embracing masks earlier, because he did have the daily briefing. He did a lot to inform about what was happening, and it's difficult to imagine how Biden would do everything different, because it's easy to be wise and talk about what was the right decision after someone has taken a decision and it turned out to be wrong. But Biden has been sitting in his basement and really not been able to not been in the center of things as Trump has. But people still seem to believe that he would do a better job automatically. But that is not sure. That is in the air. Who knows? Anyway, that's all I had for you today, guys. Please like this video and subscribe, and I will probably make more videos now about the 2020 election. It's pretty much everything that is on people's minds, so I think the focus will stay there. So have a good day, and I'll see you soon.